This is Providence Television International, the game changer. Stand by for the next program.
Welcome to the program Edo Decides on Providence Television International. My name is Ugbebo Ikekwa. This is a day that we've actually been waiting for, September 21st, 2024, the Edo State Governorship election. Yes, there have been quite some expectations, and there have also been quite some talk as regards the elections. Well, this is actually the day, and by God's grace, from what we've been able to see, reports that we've been getting, there has actually not been mayhem as anticipated by some groups in the state. Well, like we have always prayed for, it is going to actually, from our reports, we hope that it actually does end up a peaceful, free, fair election. In the studio with me to analyze activities presently taking place from across Edo State, I have with me Dr. Emmanuel Egariva. You're welcome to the program.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. We are looking forward to a time when INEC will be applauded and lauded for a good job done. It's too early in the day to say that. But I think from what we have observed, there's a huge turnout of voters. As I was coming in very early this morning, I saw a huge crowd at our primary school in Benin, for example, and that was pretty early. I just hope that some people did not sleep there because it was early and there was a large crowd at our primary school. But our cameras have been somewhere else, so we'll talk about that. I want to say that yes, this is a very sensitive election. It's sensitive because quite a large number of eminent Nigerians have talked about this. And the reason is obvious. This is an off-cycle election. And in those states, very rightly, it's the heartbeat of the nation. What happens here is felt all over Nigeria for some obvious reasons. And to that extent, I pray that all will just go well. So far, so good. The security agencies have shown discipline and professionalism. They have been very courteous. We've not had any adverse reports about them from outside. Yes. Even from the ones I observed here, they've been very respectful and courteous. And I think they're going to keep it that way. There have not been any report of skirmishes, and I pray that even the flashpoints that we know of, probably in Ikubaka and a few other areas, we've not had any adverse report at all. The weather has not been too clement. As we speak to you now, there have been some slight drizzles in the Benin area, but I hope this will fizzle out with time so that people can come out in large number. But I trust our electorate. They will always come out. In spite of everything, they will always come out. They are very enthusiastic across the divide. Yes. Whether you're for party A or party B, they are very enthusiastic. I mean, from what they have been saying and from what we have been observing, they want to pick a candidate of their choice. At the end of the day, the issue of money changing hands, I don't think that we need all of that for today. There might be a few instances, but generally speaking, I think they should be avoided as much as possible so that at the end we can give ourselves thumbs up. Yes, we're expecting a good performance.
Yeah, we actually expected a good performance. But before we go on, being the game changer, we'll definitely give you an insight into this issue as regards the elections. We've had other governors before the incoming governor. Obaseki will be leaving anytime quite soon, and that is why we're having these elections. Dr. Emmanuel Egariva is going to throw some light on some democratically elected governors that we've had just before these elections.
Well, 5 of them. When you're talking about democratically elected governors in Edo State, I mean, there have been military officers who came here, even in Edo State, remember? But we're talking about those that were elected on political platform. There were 5 in number. In other words, we're going to have the 6th governor, democratically elected governor today. Before now, we had, in 1991, for example, we had Chief John Ojige Oyegun. Okay. He pioneered civilian administration in present-day Edo State when the state was split from the old Bendel. I happened to have served there as the chief press secretary. And so I also was the pioneering chief press secretary, civilian Edo State. So it's in my CV forever. So, but well, that's on the lighter side. So he was, and that's the picture of Odige Oyegun there. He left because the military came and drove everybody away. Remember Abacha?
Yes.
Abacha came and he drove everybody away. When Oyegun was here, it was a diarchy because we had the military president in Babangida, military president, and he served without the National Assembly, for example. And that meant, or rather, he kept it going, but he remained there himself as a lone man executive arm of government. So we had a diarchy, military, and it was experimental. Experimental in the sense that we have never seen that before. He did not change his uniform into Agbada or something, but he remained there, and he chose the title president, military president. Normally, all over the world, you don't pick presidents on the surface. Okay, you vote for presidents. But in Babangida's case, he just changed from military head of state to military president. So, but the diarchy there means we had the military in power, but we had civilians in place. All right, all the governors were civilian governors, so they worked in tandem with the military head of state, and I think it was a smooth operation.
Okay,
we went on with that until Abacha came and drove everybody away. But when there was an interregnum, you remember, Babangida stepped aside and Shonekon was in. It was when Shonekon came that Abacha drove everybody away, and he became the head of state. Now, at the exit of Odige Oyegun, we had Lucky Gbelenjo. In 1999, that was the birth of this present republic. In 1999, and he was the first as the governor in the present republic. And of course, we all remember that he took over from Oyerogbula, a naval officer, to be governor of the state in an executive capacity. Then after him, of course, we had Professor Sarime Osubo. Osubo had a short spell. He was not removed through a democratic process. It was the court that removed him because the court believed that there were discrepancies. And so he was removed, and after him came Oshamole. Oshamole, again, it was the court who put him in office. All right? Even though a lot of people thought that he won ab initio, but it was the court that made him the governor. Right? And he stayed there for 2 terms, 8 years. And when he left, the reins of power went to Godwin Obaseki, who was close to him, by the way. But they had discrepancies in between. They had a lot of differences. And Obaseki had to leave to join forces with the PDP. And so he won on the platform of the PDP, you remember. And he took charge. And the 8 years are coming to a close in November. After the election, there will be a respite, about a couple of months. And then he will prepare for whoever is coming in. Right now, we can only conjecture really who is going to be the governor to occupy Osadebe Avenue. So that's the litany of the governors we have had these past many years. I believe that the transition will be smooth. I believe that very strongly, that the transition will be smooth. In spite of the fact that there are a few things that have been quite untidy in terms of electionary campaign. People throwing very terrible banters at each other and leaving the substance. Okay, but we won't talk about militarization. The rain is falling fairly heavily now. We have signals that the rain is falling, and we hope that things will subside very shortly so that we can have a very hitch-free electoral process. So that, I think, is the bit we can take as far as the successive governors are concerned.
All right, we will, during the course of the program, actually discuss the expectations of Edo citizens that is their reasons for having to go out to vote during these polls. But before we do that, the situation report as at 6:30, just like Dr. Egariva pointed out, as at 6:30 at the Bisawa Primary School, voters were already out en masse. Let us forget that even as we speak now, it is actually raining. They were seriously out in their numbers. We'll show you the clip as regards the numbers while the program goes on. But you can see that even as at 8:39 this morning, the voting process had already started. Accreditation and voting had already started at Ibisawa Primary School. We'll be getting feelers, we'll be getting reports also from other respondents, other reporters out there in the field. But from what we've just been able to get just close by here, even as regards security, it's been wonderful. Like most people expected, that they expressed fears that the heavy presence of security officials was going to deter voters from coming out in their numbers to vote. But from what I experienced this morning, yes, you'll be surprised. I personally went there. Even Dr. Egariva had to do his own movement to some polling centers to find out what is actually going on around there. From what I experienced at the Bisawa Primary School, the polling unit down there, the presence of security officers really did not deter the voters. They were there, and the security officers were quite on the civil side. They weren't this ferocious looking as portrayed in some news media houses. No, they were gentle, they were civil. They made sure that for every voter who was getting into that polling center, that they would display their voter's card to make sure that yes, you are eligible to be in that place. You are coming there to vote and not to foment trouble. And so from that situation report, like I said, yes, things as regards that area are quite calm. And from the little other reports that we've gotten from across the state, not just Benin City, things are going quite well, although we're still expecting some more reports.
Well, Igbesama is a particularly sensitive place. It has a huge number of polling units.
Yes.
Very huge number.
Yes.
Okay, and the voter turnout there is usually very large. High concentration. It's a high concentration area. So when you mentioned Loredo, for instance, that's one of them.
Yes.
Okay. And I was not surprised that people came out in large numbers to the place. Rain will not disturb them. I know that. I mean, I grew up around this area, and I know the enthusiasm. It has never changed. It's always very huge. Okay. And it's a combination of people from different political parties. It's an amalgamation of people. Okay. Party A, Party B, Party C, very well represented in this area. I also observed that, yes, as you rightly said, that the security agents were quite friendly. Very friendly. They were very courteous. They will direct you to appropriate places where you're supposed to vote. And the gate there is small, so they will check you and you go in. Okay, but let's look at the number of voters, registered voters in Edo State, for example. From INEC, we have authority to say that the figure stands at 2,629,025. That's the total number of registered voters. Out of this number, 2,249,750 or 780 rather collected their PVCs, permanent voter cards, which represents 85.5%. Now, it doesn't end there. 379,245 PVCs were uncollected, which means that you have a total of 14.43%. Right. What is important here is to note the number of PVCs that were collected.
Yes.
The percentage is 85. But sometimes, not, and usually every time, it's not all the people who collected their PVCs that will go to the polling stations to vote.
Very true.
Sometimes the figure can reduce very, very considerably. Sometimes up to 50%. So we are praying that this should not be one of those occasions. If we move close to 60%, that will just be fine. Right. People will develop apathy. That's natural as a result of their fears. They have all kinds of phobia. That will naturally happen. So if you have about 60%, oh, that is beautiful. Sometimes it's less than 50%. And the figure will still be accepted by INEC.
Yes.
As long as voting procedures were followed. That's what the law says. So on this day, I believe and I hope that the turnout will rise to the point where we move close to that 85.5% of people who collected their PVCs. INEC usually is worried. Okay, but I think as they usually do, they announce that you should come on particular days to collect your PVCs and things like that. People usually are adamant until the last few days.
I wanted to point that out. Yes, people actually do wait, and even when there is a postponement
or extension,
an extension of the date, that's the right word to use, an extension of the date, you still find people 2 days. It is when it gets to the last day that you now see this massive crowd of individuals wanting to collect.
I don't know why Nigerians do that. Not just with voters' cards, even with NIN. You remember,
yes.
It has to be extended more than 5 or 6 times. People will not go. Maybe they fear that there might be a surge in the first few days. But again, that doesn't help issues. But INEC has announced many times that yes, go even for people who have to change their places of residence.
Yes,
opportunities for them to reconcile. All of these things. We hope that we'll get a very good number of people who collected their PVCs, because at the end of the day, that's the thing that counts.
Yes,
I hope that the winner that will emerge today will win on majority votes that are above average. That's my prayer.
Exactly.
If you win through maybe about 30% or something, that's not good enough. All right. It means that most of the people did not come out to vote.
Did not come out to vote. Yes. Exactly.
But we'll pray for majority turnout and majority voting pattern. That's what makes democracy what it is. I also want to say that yes, good enough. Yesterday we had all the ballot papers, or more appropriately, all the electoral materials coming to Benin. They were airlifted and straight to the central bank. Central bank took the custody. We showed you the pictures yesterday. Now they took the custody and they have all been distributed to the wards, to all the wards in the 18 local government areas. So right now, even to the interior, we have not had any adverse reports as to the absence of election materials. So we are praying in earnest that this will be one election that we can count on. A lot depends on INEC and the security forces. And I pray that there's no rigging. I pray seriously that there's no rigging. So far, so good. Even though yesterday we had a few skirmishes around the Gobauka area, or what do you call it now, around the Kenwan Road area. But that subsided. And we are happy that today there have not been any reported cases of skirmishes. This is the situation at the moment. We want to say quite frankly that if there's going to be any incident at all, it must be with the collusion of INEC, incident of ballot box snatching and all of that. It's the INEC and the security agents.
The eyes of the world is presently on INEC.
Of course. INEC is the eye of the storm. I said that yesterday, very plainly. I said that yesterday. They are in the eye of the storm for obvious reasons. And this is one occasion that they can use to re-launder their image, which was really terribly battered last year. I mean, people are still not seeing all kinds of apprehensions about the election of last year. Okay? So, but this is one single election that can change all the formats. Yes, one single election can change the profile of INEC as a dependable organization, as a reliable umpire, because that's their role. I mean, constitutional role, they must stay in the middle without tilting either way. So we and I'm happy about what the president has said, that yes, go out there, vote according to your conscience. He did not campaign, and I don't think he campaigned for his own party, all right, which was good. Because some other people will have said, oh, come on, vote for my party. But he has not said that in clear terms. I'm not be too sure of the body language, but he has not voiced that. All that he has said is go out there, and that translates to mean that the best candidate should win. That has always been my position, even as a media operator. I pray that the best candidate should win. And at the end of the day, there should be goodwill. Through handshake across the divide.
All right.
Yes. One winner, many losers.
Exactly. One winner, many losers. This also goes out because as at yesterday, the build up to the elections today, there were so many speculations. And I've, well, as a professional media practitioner, I've never believed in items gotten from social media. It spread on the social media yesterday that some of the political gladiators, some of the major individuals, candidates, it was stated that some had been banned as of yesterday, some had been stopped from the elections, and some other reports came out to say that another candidate had stepped down, that he was not. But I want to say this with all authority, that those were false information. There was nothing to that effect. Even in the papers, both candidates have come out to deny these allegations.
Well, these are gimmicks. These are normal gimmicks, but I mean, they should be carried to the extreme. For instance, the one involving the judicial system. I think that was to the extreme.
That was to the extreme.
But the other gimmicks, you can make room for them during an election period like this. It even happens in advanced countries where you throw all kinds of mud at opponents. Yes, there's room for that, but that's not to make it legitimate.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But they do that. I mean, for instance, the issue of saying, Mr. Akpata of a Labour Party has stepped down for somebody, and the man himself has come out to say no.
That he did not.
The party itself has come out to say no. Our candidate is still on the bill.
Yes.
Okay. So that's in any case that will have dissuaded or discouraged his own followers.
Very true.
Okay. I mean, those are intrigues you'll find in political calculations. All right. They all do it. All the parties do it. They throw mud at themselves. Last minute. Don't forget that yesterday was free.
Yes.
They couldn't come out, but somehow the social media, that's one bad aspect of the social media. Even when you stop regular radio and television stations, you don't carry adverts, don't do this, don't do this. The social media is still busy.
Okay.
There's no regulation as such. The social media is still busy with all sorts of things. So, and it's like that all over the world. But mainstream media, they know the law. They stayed away from. I mean, for instance, we didn't carry any advert and things like that.
No.
Yes, we didn't even invite people to come and talk on behalf of their political parties.
Yes.
But that's what the law says, and we have to abide.
Okay.
All right. So we find a situation where it is obvious that these things must happen once in a while. Yes, you can't rule them out absolutely, completely.
Okay, well, let us look at this issue of the social media from a professional point of view. You are a veteran in journalism. Do you think, because even before the polls end today, you'd have started seeing results?
But it's part of the rule. It's
from the social media.
No, it's part of the rule by INEC, for instance, that INEC is the only organization that can announce results. But in between, you see figures flying
exactly.
all of that.
Exactly.
Again, that's because we have not developed the point where we can rely on technology and such. I mean, in the U.S., for instance, during the presidential election, results are known in the three major outfits, CNN, CBS, and maybe, one or two others, or Fox. They are known. And that is because they are disciplined. All right. No falsification of results. But here, you cannot depend on that kind of thing. But it's a double-edged sword. Because sometimes the figure you find emanating from the social media will be at variance with what INEC is doing. And yes, it's the one from the social media that is authentic.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
That's a sore point, really. And that is why cases go to court. That, look, we have these figures from the polling centers or from the collating centers. This is what we have. This is what the record says. But on the other hand, this is what... and you know, a lot of victories have been upturned as a result of that. This is authentic. So you go into your server and find out exactly what happened. But the chairman, Professor Mahmood, has said that the beavers will be used. All right, there will be no hitches, but there will be no glitches. All right, things will go on smoothly. That's the assurance we have from them, because technology will aid us a great deal.
Exactly.
You can't dissipate all our energies just going after social media and stuff like that. If we're going to rely on figures from INEC, let those figures be authentic.
Exactly.
I mean, for crying out loud, let those figures be unassailable. Yes, to the point where we can say yes, that figure is right, is authentic.
All right, while we'll be expecting quite authentic figures from the INEC, I want to use this opportunity to appeal to those majority of users of the social media, please, if you're putting out anything there, let's try and make it authentic. And this brings me to my next question. Do you think that the social media can be regulated?
It is difficult. I mean, it is difficult because it also helps. So that's the thing about the social media. It's a double-edged phenomenon.
Okay.
Yes. How do you think that people who stole money all over the place, billions and billions, it's through the social media that we get to know sometimes. I mean, it's there are stations, there are online stations that stay within the rules. But again, it is individuals that cause all these problems. I mean, you just post all kinds of things there, no professionalism, nothing. Now you just paste what they call cut and paste. Yes. I think the aspect that can be regulated is the aspect of professionalism.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I mean, these people must be regulated. If you are going to post anything, make sure that and don't injure people's sensibilities. A lot of people do that on social media. They rub mud on you, and it may not be true. Okay? It may not be true. That's one aspect. The other aspect of social media is that, look, the sore point in government, it is through the social media that we get to know. If a man, for instance, a man high up in government, defiles the 7-year-old girl, most regular stations will not want to carry that kind of thing. Maybe because they take money and all. But the social media will carry it. Okay? And that will put the man on the spot. I mean, I've had a lot of situations. I mean, look at the case of Kogi State, for instance.
Yes.
The social media has helped us to know that, yes, this guy must face justice. Okay? So, we have the bad side and the good side. It is social media, there are different platforms. You have YouTube, you have WhatsApp and all of that. They have their own good sides, all of them. Tell me what citizens of this country can do without WhatsApp. No. Or the Facebook. Yes, remember the other time the regime or the administration of Buhari had issues with Facebook. Twitter, yes. The whole nation descended on that, and they had to rescind it. Because these things help young people. People are they are creating business opportunities for themselves through the social media. If you close down the social media today, you know how many youths will be put out of business. Because people are I'm not talking of those who do Yahoo business and all that. I'm talking of genuine business. Okay? Young people are getting engaged, doing one thing by contacts. So if you close down social media, that would be horrible. And I'm happy that the Buhari administration did not go beyond that. Because the whole world was against it. And that would have added very negative value to that administration.
Exactly.
Lai Mohammed then was making all kinds of noise. But they had to retract those statements as quickly as possible. Today we have Twitter. Most of them are on Twitter anyway.
Yes.
What you call X now.
Exactly.
Most of the government functionaries are on Twitter. If they want to make any useful statement, they go to Twitter. Right? Yes. They go there to make pronouncements, and the whole world gets to know. So it has its good side, it has its bad side. But the general appeal should be that there must be discipline.
Exactly.
Yeah, discipline on usage. All right. From kids in the primary school now, they know how to operate WhatsApp. They know. And parents too have a lot of responsibilities as far as that is concerned. You must regulate even your own children from abusing social media platforms.
Well. Edo Decides continues. Like I told you, we'll give you an update. But just before we go, we have a report from one of our correspondents who the report just came in now, and we will be playing that report in just a minute.
Right now, Units 3 and 4, and as you can see, voters are sitting down waiting patiently for INEC materials to arrive. Even the adult staff, they are not here yet. So the people of Edo State are here, seated, waiting patiently for the adult staff and for all the materials to cast their franchise to arrive. But none is here right now. Like I said, I am at Ewotubu Secondary School, 2 units, Units 3 and 4.
Ewotubu, that is Ewotubu Secondary School, Unit 3 and 4, located at Ego. That's where that report from one of our correspondents is just coming in. Well, there'll be more because we have all our reporters around all around major areas of not just Benin City but Edo State. And so these reports will come in. On this note, I want to tell you that Edo Decides continues in just a minute. Let's take this break. Please stay tuned. Thank you.
At last, the glorious days of television are back. Welcome to Providence Television International, founded and powered by the one and only Emmanuel Igariba, the multiple award-winning producer. Providence Television International, reaching out to the world with very attractive and irresistible programs. With Providence Television International, it will be pleasure unlimited. We are also at your service for social event coverages and live streaming on our channel. You can reach us at our corporate headquarters, 42 Igbesaman Street, Benin City, or telephone 08033 511 599. And to connect with us on live transmission, simply log on to YouTube and then type Providence Television International and you're good to go. Subscribe and let us give you the utmost satisfaction on television. It's a promise. Providence Television International, the game changer.